Hey guys, what's going on? Snowflake here, and welcome to another episode of The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. In the last episode, we kind of took a deep breath, didn't do too much. We found out about the rituals to succeed either the Duke of Mania or the Duchess of Dementia, and we were given the choice to do one of those, and I chose the Ritual of Mania. So we need to find a way to get Théoden, the current Duke of Mania, to overdose on green mote and die without his knowledge. So let's head back to New Sheoth and through the strange door and all the way back to the Shivering Isles. Okay, there's no quest marker, so they're going to make me move the map myself. Fair enough. Okay, so they said New Sheoth, so I'm guessing we need to go into the Mania Court and start asking people about Greenmote. That's at least what I understood anyway. Wagwan. Shagoref's Palace. Is there a way in? Yeah, there's the Mania entrance over here. Let's ask Gundlar.
What can I do for you on this fine day?
Okay, enthusiasm, I like it. Tell me a rumor.
If you see a gnarl, be careful what spells you use on them.
Don't need to worry about that. Don't use spells. Tell me about Théoden.
If I were you, I'd check with Théoden's steward, Wide-Eye. You can usually find her roaming around New Sheoth, or spending a lot of time on the palace grounds.
Alright, sounds like a plan.
May all your days be filled with enlightenment and mirth.
Okay, so we need to find Wide-Eye, who's apparently out here. In fact, oh, she's down here? Okay. Okay, managed to avoid a lot of pain. She's in Bliss. Okay. Guess that's where you would find someone like that. I don't think I can land that, so I may just walk around. Upgrade my sneak in the meantime. Who's this? Ungor. Right. Sleeping outside. Not right now. We've spoken to you before.
Is ours at last, thanks to you.
Hey, you're welcome, man. You're welcome. Fimian, we've spoken to. Okay, is she in here? Books of Bliss. Really? Okay, well, I guess I can wait until the morning. Still in there, huh? Another hour? Loading screen. The door's open now. Alright, let's talk to Santerre.
How do you do? I'd say very well from the look of things.
Are you trying to flirt with me, Santerre?
Spend one night with me.
Yes, you very clearly are.
Remind you why they say love hurts.
Whoa, whoa. Getting a little bit too freaky for this kind of game. Although I have just rejected her advances, I do have to get her to like me. Yes, we know whatever I want. You've made that very clear with the way you've spoken to me.
Don't waste your flattery on. Don't. No. That's just stupid. Yeah. What? Sorry. I don't. Yeah. What? What? Don't talk such rot.
Rumor?
If you see a gnarl, be careful what spells you use on them.
Yep, we've just been told
Looking
that.
for a good book? I bet I have just what you need.
Ooh. Ooh, a lot of new books. This might be a reading episode. Okay, let me just make sure I get them all down. Alright, we've got 16 Accords of Madness, Volume 9, 6 and 8, 6 and 7, okay. Okay, so we'll take one each of those. Alright, let's do our haggling a little bit.
For you? All right. I'm sure. Enjoy it.
Alright, I think we've read Elytra's Life, and Bark and Sap we've read. Fall of Vifon is one we need. So we'll take one of those.
Enjoy it.
From Frog to Man. Need.
Enjoy it.
Guide to New Sheoth. Oh, like we had the guide to all of the cities in Cyrodiil. There's a similar guide to New Sheoth. Okay.
I'm sure you'll put that to good use.
Heretical Forts, we've read. Myths of Sheogorath. Haven't read. Okay, we'll take that.
Enjoy it.
Saints and Seducers, I know we've read. The Blessings of Sheogorath. Pretty sure we've done that one, yep. The Liturgy of Affliction. No.
Enjoy it.
The Living Woods.
For you?
The Madness of Pelagius, we have read. Predecessors. Nope, that's another one. Grab one of those.
Enjoy it.
Prophet Arden Sul, we've read. The Ravings of Fenroy. Here's a new one.
I'm sure you'll put that to good use.
Shivering Apothecary is a new one. Read the Shivering Bestiary. So I'm guessing it will be somewhat similar to that. Did I already buy it or... No, okay. Just checking. Don't want to waste any coins.
For you? All right.
Shivering Bestiary, Standing Stones. There's a book called Wabbajack. And if anyone knows anything about Sheogorath from prior Elder Scrolls knowledge, it's probably something to do with the Wabbajack. We'll take that.
I'm sure you'll put that to good use.
And finally, Zealotry. So quite a bit of reading material. Don't know how long each of those books are going to be. But yeah, this could be a lot of reading today. So if that's not your thing, I guess... if you're watching the stream, unlucky.
Interested in anything at all? Just let me know.
Alright, Sontae, relax. Relax.
Goodbye.
Wait, is she not even in here? Is she not even in here? Right, let me save here. Did I just go in here for no reason? In that case... No. She was in here. She just left as I was coming in. We're reading the books. Okay, so I guess it makes most sense to start with volume 6, then 9, then 12, I guess. Don't know why it's done like that, but whatever. 16 The Cause of Madness, volume 6. Hircine's Tale. Ever proud and boastful, Oblivion's mad prince stood 1/5 day of mid-year among the frigid peaks of Skyrim and beckoned forth Hircine for parley. The huntsman god materialized. This was his day, and the boldness of Sheogorath intrigued him. Ride without equal, Sheogorath holds in his realm giggling loons, flamboyant auteurs and craven mutilators. The mad prince will ply profitless bargains and promote senseless bloodshed for nothing more than the joy of another's confusion, tragedy, or rage. So it was that Sheogorath had set a stage on which to play himself as rival to Hircine. Without haste, the coy prince preferred his contest. Each prince was to groom a beast to meet at this place again, 3 years to the hour, and do fatal battle. Expressionless behind his fearsome countenance, Hircine agreed, and with naught but a dusting of snow in the drift, the princes were gone to their realms. Confident, but knowing Sheogorath for a trickster, Hircine secretly bred an abomination in his hidden realm. An ancient Daedroth he summoned, and imbued it with a foul curse of lycanthropy. The pitch-heart and jagged fan, the unspeakable horror had no peer, even among the great hunters of Hircine's sphere. In the 3rd year, on a given day, Hircine returned where Sheogorath leaned, cross-legged on a stone, whistling with idle patience. The prince of the hunt struck his spear to the ground, bringing forth his unnatural, snarling behemoth. Doffing his cap, sly as ever, Sheogorath stood and stepped aside to reveal a tiny, colourful bird perched atop the stone. Demurely it chirped in the bristling gusts, scarcely audible. In a twisted, springing heap, the Daedroth was upon the stone, leaving only rubble where the boulder had been. Thinking itself victorious, the monster's bloodied maw curled into a mock grin, when a subdued song drifted in the crisp air. The tiny bird lightly hopped along the snout of the furious Daedroth. Sheogorath looked on, quietly mirthful, as the diminutive creature picked at a bit of detritus caught in scales betwixt the fiery eyes of the larger beast. With howling fury, the were-thing blinded itself, trying to pluck away the nuisance, and so it continued for hours, Hircine looking on in shame while his finest beast gradually destroyed itself in pursuit of a seemingly oblivious bird, all the while chirping a mournful tune to the lonesome range. Livid but beaten, Hircine burned the ragged corpse and withdrew to his realm, swearing in forgotten tongues. His curses still hang in those peaks, and no wayfarer tarries for fear of his wrathful aspect in those obscured heights. Turning on his heel, Sheogorath beckoned the minuscule songbird to perch atop his shoulder and stroll down the mountain, making for the warm breezes and vibrant sunsets of the Abyssian coast, whistling in tune with the tiniest champion in Tamriel. So yeah, cool story. Basically, if you don't know, Hircine is like the Daedric lord of hunting for sport and stuff. So Sheogorath challenged him at his own game and beat him with a little bird. So yeah, lesson not to underestimate him. We'll go with 16 The Chords of Madness, Volume 9. Vermina's Tale. Darius Shano found himself running as fast as he could. He had no idea what he was running from or towards, but he didn't care. The desire saturated his mind. There was nothing in the world except flight. He looked around for landmarks, anything to place himself or to use as a target, but to no avail. The featureless grasslands through which he was sprinting extended as far as the eye could see. Just have to keep running, he thought to himself. I have to run as fast as I can. On and on he ran, with no end in sight or in mind. Standing over Darius Shano while he lay quietly in his bed were his mistress, Vermina the Dreamweaver, and the mad god Sheogorath. That sounds pretty freaky. Vernima, I keep changing the spelling, looked down with pride at this disciple of hers, and was boastful of her little jewel. Such potential in this one. Through dreams of inspiration, I have nurtured literary talent into fruition, and now he stands in acclaim as an emerging bard and poet. He will gain much favour before I tire of him. Sheogorath, too, gazed at the young Breton artist and saw that he was indeed famous among the other mortals. Mused Sheogorath, but how many are there who hate this mortal whom you have built? It is the hatred of the mortals which confers greatness and not their love. Surely you can accomplish this as well. Venima's eyes narrowed. Yes, for mortals are indeed often foolish and petty. And it is true that many of their most bold have been despised. Do not worry, mad one, for I have the power to achieve many forms of greatness with this one, hatred among them. Perhaps, Dreamweaver, it would be amusing to show who has this power. Inspire foolish, arrogant hatred of this mortal for 10 years, and then I will do the same. We shall see whose talents are most efficient, free of aid or interference from any of the Daedra. At this she relaxed into confident pleasure. The mad god is indeed powerful, but this task is suited to my skills. The mortals are repulsed by madness, but rarely think it worthy of hate. I shall take pleasure in revealing this to you, as I bring the more subtle horrors out of this mortal's subconscious. And so in the 19th year of his life, the dreams Darius Shadow had been experiencing began to change. Fear had always been part of the night for him, but now there was something else. A darkness began to creep into his slumber, a darkness that sucked away all feeling and colour, leaving only emptiness behind. When this happened, he opened his mouth to scream, but found that the darkness had taken his voice as well. All he had was the terror and the void, and each night they filled him with a new understanding of death. Yet, when he woke, there was no fear, for he had faith that his lady had a purpose. Indeed, one night Venima herself emerged from the void. She leaned in close to whisper into his ear, "Watch carefully, my beloved." With that she pulled the void away, and for hours each night she would reveal to Darius the most horrible perversions of nature. Men being skinned and eaten alive by other men, unimaginable beasts of many limbs and mouths, entire populations being burned, their screams filled his every evening. In time, these visions gnawed at his soul, and his work began to take on the character of his nightmares. Images revealed to him at night were reproduced on the page, and the terrible cruelty and hollow vice that his work contained both revolted and fascinated the public. They revelled in their disgust over every detail. There were those who openly enjoyed his shocking material, and his popularity amongst some only fed the hatred of those who found him abhorrent. This continued for several years, while the infamy of Darius grew steadily. Then in his 29th year, without warning, the dreams and nightmares ceased. Darius felt a weight lifted as he no longer endured the nightly tortures, but was confused. "What have I done to displease my mistress?" he wondered aloud. "Why has she abandoned me?" Venima never answered his prayers. No one ever answered, and the restless dreams faded away to leave Darius in long, deep sleeps. Interest in the works of Darius Shadow waned. His prose became stale, and his ideas failed to provoke the shock and outrage they once had. As the memory of his notoriety and of his terrible dreams faded, the questions that raised in his mind eventually produced resentment against Venima, his former mistress. Resentment grew into hatred. From hatred came ridicule, and over time ridicule became disbelief. Slowly it became obvious. Venima had never spoken to him at all. His dreams were simply the product of a sick mind that had righted itself. He had been deceived by his own subconscious, and the anger and shame overwhelmed him. The man who once conversed with a deity drifted steadily into heresy. In time, all of the bitterness, doubt, and sacrilege focused in Darius, a creative philosophy that was threaded throughout all of his subsequent work. He challenged the gods themselves, as well as the infantile public and corrupt state for worshipping them. He mocked them all with perverse caricatures, sparing no one and giving no quarter. He challenged the gods in public to strike him down if they existed, and ridiculed them when no such comeuppance was delivered. To all of this, the people reacted with outrage far greater than they had shown his previous work. His early career had offended only sensibilities, but now he was striking directly at the hearts of the people. His body of work grew in size and intensity. Temples, nobles, and commoners were all targets of his scorn. Finally, at age 39, Darius wrote a piece entitled "The Noblest Fool," ridiculing the emperor god Tiber Septim for integrating into the pathetic Nine Divines cult. Yeah, that's gonna get you some hate, for sure. The local king of Dania, who had been humiliated by this upstart in the past, swore his chants. For his sacrilege against the empire, Darius Shadow was executed with a ceremonial blade in front of a cheering crowd of hundreds. His last bitter words were gurgled for a mouthful of his own blood. 20 years after their wager was first placed, Venima and Sheogorath met over Darius Shadow's headless corpse. The Dreamweaver had been eager for this meeting. She had been waiting for years to confront the Daedric Prince over his lack of action. I have been deceived by you, Sheogorath. I performed my half of a bargain, but during your 10 years you never contacted a mortal once. He owes none of his greatness to you or your talents or your influence. Nonsense, croaked the mad god. I was with him all along. When your time ended and mine began, your whispers in his ear were replaced with silence. I severed his link to that from which he found the most confident meaning, and withheld the very attention the creature so desperately craved. Without his mistress, this man's character could ripen under resentment and hatred. Now his bitterness is total, and, overcome by a madness fueled by his rage, he feeds me in my realm as an eternal servant. Sheogorath turned and spoke to the empty space by his side. Indeed, Darius Shana was a glorious mortal, despised by his own people, his kings, and even by the gods he mocked. For my success, I shall accept 80 followers of Vernima into my service, and the dreamers will awaken as madmen. And thus did Sheogorath teach Vernima that without madness, there are no dreams, and no creation. Vernima will never forget this lesson. So basically Sheogorath humiliating another Daedra Lord at their own game. We got one more 16 The Cause of Madness. We got number 12. Malakath's Tale. In the days before the Orsinium's founding, the spurned orc folk were subjected to ostracism and persecutions even more numerous and harsh than their progeny are accustomed to in our own age. So it was that many champions of Yorsima travelled, enforcing what borders they could for the proliferation of their own people. Many of these champions are spoken of yet today, among them the Cursed Legion, Gromma the Hairless, and the noble Emeg Grokaira. This latter crusader would have certainly risen to legendary status throughout Tamriel had he not been subject to the attention of certain Daedric princes. Emeg Grokaira was the bastard son of a young maiden who was killed in childbirth. He was raised by the shaman of his tribe, the Grillikamalg, in the pigs of what we now call Norma Heights. Late in his 15th year, Emeg forged by hand an ornate suit of scaled armour, a rite of ascension among his tribe. On a blustery day he pounded the final rivet, and draping a heavy cloak over the bulky mantle, Emeg set out from his village for the last time. Word of his exploits always returned home, whether defending merchant caravans from brigands or liberating enslaved beast folk. News of the noble Orc Crusader began to grace even the lips of Bretons, often with a tinge of fear. Less than 2 years after ascending to maturity, Grokaira was making camp when a thin voice called out from the thickening night. He was surprised to hear the language of his people spoken by a tongue that obviously did not belong to an orc. Lord Kyra, said the voice, tales of your deeds have crossed the lips of many and have reached my ears. Peering into the murk, Emeg made out the silhouette of a cloaked figure, made wavy and ephemeral by the hazy campfire. From the voice alone he had thought the interloper an old hag, but he now decided that he was in the presence of a man of slight and lanky build, though he could discern no further detail. Perhaps, the wary orc began, but I seek no glory. Who are you? Ignoring the question, the stranger continued, Despite that, Orsima, glory finds you, and I bear a gift worthy of it. The visitor's cloak parted slightly, revealing nothing but faintly glinting buttons in the pale moonlight, and a bundle was withdrawn and tossed to the side of the fire between the two. Emeg cautiously removed the rags in which the object was swathed, and was dazzled to discover the item to be a wide curved blade with ornately decorated handle. The weapon had heft, and Emeg realized on brandishing it that the elaborate pommel disguised a more practical purpose of balancing the considerable weight of the blade itself. It was nothing much to look at in its present condition, thought the orc. But once the tarnish was cleaned away and a few missing jewels restored, it would indeed be a blade worthy of a champion 10 times his own worth. Her name is Neb Crescent, spoke the thin stranger, seeing the appreciation lighting Grokaira's face. I got her for a horse in a secret in warmer climes, but in my old age I'd be lucky to even lift such a weapon. It's only proper that I pass her on to one such as yourself. To possess her is to change your life forever. Overcoming his initial infatuation with the Ark of Honeseal, Emeg turned his attention back to the visitor. Your words are fine, old man, Emeg said, not masking his suspicion, but I'm no fool. You traded for this blade once, and you trade for it again tonight. What is it that you want? The stranger's shoulders slumped, and Emeg was glad to have unveiled the true purpose of his twilight visit. He sat with him a while, eventually offering a stack of furs, warm food, and a handful of coins in exchange for the exotic weapon. By morning, the stranger was gone. In the week following Emeg's encounter with the stranger, Neb Crescent had not left its scabbard. He had encountered no enemy in the woods, and his meals consisted of fowl and small game caught with bow and arrow. The peace suited him fine, but on the 7th morning, while fog still crept between the low-hanging boughs, Emeg's ears pricked up at the telltale crunch of a nearby footfall in the dense snow and forest debris. Emeg's nostrils flared, but he was upwind. Being unable to see or smell his guests and knowing that the breeze carried his scent in that direction, Emeg's guard was up, and he cautiously drew Neb Crescent from its sheath. Emeg himself was not entirely sure of all that happened next. The first moment of conscious memory in Emeg Grokaira's mind after drawing Neb Crescent was the image of a curved blade sweeping through the air in front of him, spattering blood over the virginal powder coating the forest floor. The second memory was a feeling of frenzied bloodlust creeping over him, but it was then that he saw for the first time his victim, an orc woman perhaps a few years younger than himself, her body a canvas of grisly wounds, enough to kill a strong man 10 times over. Emeg's disgust overwhelmed the madness that had overtaken him, and with all his will enlisted he released Neb Crescent from his grip and let the blade sail. With a discordant ringing it spun through the air and was buried in a snowdrift. Emeg fled the scene in shame and horror, drawing the hood of his cloak up to hide himself from the judging eyes of the rising sun. The scene where Emeg Grokaira had murdered one of his own kind was a macabre one. Below the neck the body was flayed and mutilated almost beyond recognition, but the untouched face was frozen in a permanent expression of abject terror. It was here that Sheogorath performed certain rites that summoned Malakath, and the 2 Daedric lords held court in the presence of the disfigured corpse. "Why show me this mad one?" began Malakath, once he recovered from his initial wordless outrage. "Do you take such pleasure in watching me grieve the murder of my children?" His guttural voice rumbled, and the patron of Orisma, because it means Orsima, looked upon his counterpart with accusing eyes. "By birth she was yours, brother outcast," began Sheogorath, solemn in aspect and demeanour. "But she was a daughter of mine by her own habits. My mourning here is no less than your own, my outrage no less great." "I am not so sure," grumbled Malakath, "but rest assured that vengeance for this crime is mine to reap. I expect no contest from you. Stand aside." As the fearsome prince began to push past him, Lord Sheogorath spoke again. "I have no intention of standing between you and vengeance. In fact, I mean to help you. I have servants in this wilderness, and can tell you just where to find our mutual foe. I ask only that you use a weapon of my choosing. Wound the criminal with my blade, and banish him to my plane, where I can exact my own punishment. The rights of honour killing here belong to you." With that, Malakath agreed, took the wide blade from Sheogorath, and was gone. Malakath materialized in the path of the murderer, the cloaked figure obscured for a blizzard haze. Bellowing a curse so foul as to wilt the surrounding trees, the blade was drawn and Malakath crossed the distance more quickly than a wild fox. Frothing with rage, he swung the blade in a smooth arc which lopped the head of his foe cleanly off, then plunged the blade up to its hilt in his chest, choking off the spurts of blood into a steady growing stain of red bubbling from beneath the scaled armour and heavy cloak. Panting from the unexpected immediacy and fury of his own kill, Malakath rested on a knee as the body before him collapsed heavily backwards and the head landed roughly upon a broad, flat stone. The next sound broke the silence like a bolt. I'm sorry," sputtered the voice of Emeg Grokaira. Malakath's eyes went wide as he looked upon the severed head, seeping blood from its wound, but somehow kept alive. Its eyes wavered about wildly, trying to focus on the aspect of Malakath before it. The once proud eyes of a champion were choked with tears of grief, pain, and confused recognition. To his horror, Malakath recognized only now that the man he had killed was not only one of his Orsima children, but very literally a son he had blessed an orc maiden with years hence. Oh man, so that's basically his son. For achingly long moments the two looked upon each other, despondent and shocked. Then silent as oiled seal, Sheogorath strode into the clearing. He hefted Emeg Grokaira's disembodied head and bundled it into a small grey sack. Sheogorath reclaimed Neb Crescent from his corpse and turned to walk away. Malakath began to stand, but kneeled again. knowing he had irreversibly damned his own offspring to the realm of Sheogorath, and mourned his failure as the sound of his son's hoarse pleas faded into the frozen horizon. That was kind of dark. But yeah, don't mess with Sheogorath is the moral of most of these stories. Alright, next up is Fall of Vifon. Vifon, the Fool. Chapter 1, in which the keep Vifon is established and passes from the first generation of rule to the second. Count Vifon, who built and appointed his keep from the mud of dementia, gathered to himself any who had pledged themselves as liege. The nearby tribes of fanatics were united as vassals to protect his lands and line, and thus the Count lived out his days in the Isles. He and his Countess Mawian bore Xaran and Riala, the first son and daughter of Vifon. Xaran's mother and father believed that with the proper political influence, Xaran could certainly usurp Sheogorath and carry the Shivering Isles into a prosperous age. That already sounds like a huge mistake. For his part, Count Vifon refused even to acknowledge Sheogorath, thinking himself and his heirs irrefutable rulers of the Isles. This, of course, amused the Mad God to no end, and so he allowed the marriage of Xaran to Sheenin Glade, daughter of an Argonian midwife who believed that the mortal sphere would afford her daughter nothing but hatred and oppression. Sheenin Glade was as excellent a countess to Xaran as any in the Isles could ask for, wanting nothing but to bring pride and honour to her adopted house and court. For years her mind was untouched, even living as she did in the heart of dementia. Alas, none may reside too long in the Isles without the blessing of Lord Sheogorath. And so Sheenin Glade was finally pushed to the brink by the infidelity of her husband, the Count. Xaran was obsessively nepotistic and distrustful of anyone with whom he shared no blood relation, including his bride. Though Sheenin Glade bore a son by the Count, who disappeared from the Isles in his 20th year, it is known that the two shared their bed with decreasing frequency as Xaran's paranoia grew, and he found himself in the arms of his birth sister Noyala, who bore of their incestuous affair the heir apparent Cesarion. There are those of us who remember personally the reign of Cesarion and his contribution to the fall of Vifon. Chapter 2, in which the birth of Count Cesarion heralds a glorious, bloody, and brief age for Vifon. Violent-natured and quick of temper, Cesarion sought enemies where there were none. His early days on the seat of Vifon saw the extermination of every tribe of man, mer, or beast within sight of the keep until none were left. During his brief reign, much of the southeastern coastline of Dementia was unsafe to travel, littered with the corpses of trespassers in the lands of Vifon, staked to trees as territorial markers. Beside his sadistic temper, Count Cesarion of Vifon was known also for his slow wit and ailing health. Indeed, Cesarion was born with legs that seemed mismatched in length, and breathed with a laborious rasp. As a youth, tutors were hard-pressed to school the dull boy. Midwives and nurses surrounded him, attending his every ailment with balms and vapours from every corner of the Isles. But when he came of age, he sent them away, often becoming violent in their dismissal. Perhaps showing the influence of his father, Cesarion became increasingly introverted, allowing only a select few courtiers in his presence. He was seen in public, but it says pubic, only when organising his vassal fanatics for yet another raid on the countryside. Atypically adhering to the desperate counsel of his advisers, Cesarion paused in his plundering to take a wife and ensure the continuation of Vifon's noble line. The increasingly ill Count chose a vibrant peasant woman as his betrothed, from a heretic commune in the wilds of Mania. Indeed, Countess Jadine could not have been any more his opposite. Vassal fanatics, long loyal to their ancestral agreement with Count Vitrion, were inflamed by this heresy, and tensions grew as the health of Cesarion finally failed, and his young son Cirion ascended the throne of Vifon. Chapter 3, in which conflict besets Vifon, and the Irenic Count Cirion is overwhelmed. Sorry about that. Young Count Cirion had scarcely been seen in public before his hasty coronation in the bailey of Vifon Keep. Some say he still bore bruises from beatings at the feeble hand of his father during his final hours during the ceremony. As Cirion had been old enough to govern, his gentle, reserved demeanour may have been enough to ease the seething tension among the vassal tribe, but his mother, Countess Jadine, was forced to assume many of the duties her husband had so long ignored. By all accounts, Jadine was a fit countess, loved by her people, but the leaders of the vassal fanatics could not contain indefinitely their personal sentiments of outrage at her manic heritage. Despite her exceedingly tactful attempts at diplomacy, the animosity against her was deep-seated and grew over the years. It is perhaps admirable that the vassals remained true to the oath so long. When Syrian finally came of age to rule, the sheepish boy Count tried in earnest to ascend gracefully, but his fear of the world was so great that even the shadow of a passing bird would startle him visibly. He was all but unable to address the people publicly, and when he attempted to placate the vassals, still outraged by his mother's heritage, he could scarcely contain his fright, and some say that he even soiled himself before fleeing the throne chamber. Not the first time the leader of a place has gone completely crazy. You might recall a bloke called Pelagius. Certain as the march of fate, the tolerance of the vassal fanatics scrapped, and warriors encircled Vifon. The Count's personal guards were ill-suited to repel the attack, and the siege lasted a single day. Since the day of that battle, no living soul has wandered away from Vifon. Local myth tells of a tireless struggle between the spirits of the fanatic vassals and Vifon's meagre defenders, damned by the treachery of fanatics and the cowardice of Syrian to replay their final moments in perpetuity. And actually there is a quest relating to Vifon, miscellaneous quest. We won't be doing it in the main quest. Probably will be doing that for a very long time. But in case you want to keep that in mind, there you go. Next up we've got From Frog to Man by Mikus Ralbrek. The life cycle of a Grummite is rather unique. They appear to be a deviant version of frogs and may even be distantly related to Argonians, although I have no direct evidence of that. Like the humble frog, the Grummite is born from eggs found in or near water. The eggs hatch into tiny polywogs, no bigger than my hand. The polywog grows quickly, and inside of a few weeks grows limbs, and changes into an amphibious ballywog. There was another book which said they suspected ballywog and Grummite were related, but this one seems to confirm it. The ballywog will live for up to 2 years, growing to be larger than a man in both length and weight. Eventually, the adult ballywog will feel the urge to seek out deep water and bury itself in the mud. It hibernates there for many months, gestating into a Grummite. I've been unable to determine the exact time of gestation. The Grummite emerges from the mud fully grown. New Grummites never leave the water and are consumed with the urge to mate. Females leave the water to hang their eggs. They are hung over the water to keep them out of reach of aquatic predators, while still allowing the polywogs to fall into the water when they hatch. Once a female has laid her eggs, she turns her back on them. She will live her life more on land than in the water, although never far from it. The male's mating urges subside after 6 months to a year. He too takes to the land and, like the female, does nothing to protect his eggs. Damn, terrible parents. Adult Grummites have a sort of primitive culture. Crofton Highbrow maintains that they are cunning craftsmen that make jewelry and weapons, even mining ore. There are specific Grummite weapons, so that sounds right to me. This is plainly ridiculous. Although I have not determined the source of their tools and adornments, I am certain that they trade with other civilized races for such things. As for tales of magic casting Grummites, it is even more ludicrous. While their primitive brains are surprisingly large, they clearly do not have the intelligence to learn the arcane crafts. I do not know how Crofton managed to train his pet Grummite to cast spells, but I assure my readers that it is a trick of some sort. Well, we have seen Grummites use magic, so this guy is talking a bunch of nonsense. Alright, next up is Guide to New Sheoth. A Traveller's Guide to New Sheoth in the Shivering Isles, Brenneth Arelin. New Sheoth is generally recognized as the jewel of the Shivering Isles, the culinary and cultural epicenter of the entire realm. Founded at the whim of our Lord Sheogorath, the city is a model of the Mad God's own perfect vision. First-time visitors to New Sheoth are often impressed by the warmth, generosity, and general good humour of its residents. Visitors are welcomed with open arms and generally made to feel as if they are a part of a large New Sheoth family. The sheer scope of the sights and sounds in the city can be daunting to the new visitor, and this guide aims to make the transition as easy as possible for newcomers. Visitors will find the city is divided into 3 main sections: Bliss, Crucible, and the Palace. Bliss and Crucible house a majority of residential and commercial buildings in the city, while the palace area houses the magnificent palace of Sheogorath, as well as the residences of the reigning Dukes of Mania and Dementia. Though located in the same city, visitors will find that the Bliss and Crucible areas of New Sheoth offer distinct experiences. The shining parapets and golden roads of Bliss stand in stark contrast to the rustic buildings and unpaved streets of Crucible. Travellers interested in a bustling nightlife and fine cuisine might prefer time spent in Bliss. Renowned for its extravagant galas and spirited affairs, visitors who seek a quieter experience would do well to spend their time exploring Crucible, where dark seducer patrols encourage a more serene way of life. No matter your taste, New Sheoth promises an experience like no other. This guide will give advice on how to best navigate the oft confusing but ultimately rewarding channels of this magnificent city. Arriving in New Sheoth. Travellers to New Sheoth will arrive at its gates from either the highlands of Mania or the swampy lowlands of Dementia. Many make the mistake of hurrying directly to the gates of the city without exploring the beautiful and majestic countryside outside the city walls. I mean, there's so many things out there that kill you that probably not a very good idea. This is certainly a mistake, as the forests and glades of the Shivering Isles are unlike those found anywhere else in all the realms. Some discussion of these areas is warranted, as exploring them is vital to experiencing all that the region has to offer. Mania, vibrant land of towering flora. Walking amongst the giant mushroom trees of Mania is an experience any new visitors of the Shivering Isles is not soon to forget. Hours spent wandering in the forest of spore trees, breathing deeply of the spore-laden air, these are the times destined to remain a part of you forever. Feelings of peace and contentment wash over the body and calm the soul. It can seem as if you haven't a care in the world. Take the time to examine the beautiful plant life found in the region. Treat yourself to alocasia fruit, which is known to have restorative properties, or pluck an aster bloom core, which some locals believe has the ability to ward off the attacks of evil spirits. If you plan on spending some time in the Mania countryside, consider visiting the small community of Hale. The residents are mostly local artists and are very welcoming to weary travellers. Be sure to explore the lovely areas surrounding Hale and enjoy the peaceful atmosphere. A cautious traveller is a safe traveller though, even in the idyllic lands of Mania. While the paths that wind through the scenic countryside are generally safe, the surrounding regions pose some danger for the careless traveller. Mania is home to a number of indigenous animal species, some of which could be threatening to a less seasoned adventurer. We recommend sticking to the clearly marked paths when travelling anywhere within the Shivering Isles. Slow graze of dementia. It is often said, time spent in dementia is time not spent elsewhere. I think that's pretty obvious. Truer words were never spoken. More obvious words were never spoken. Many have spent days roaming the small islets of dementia, enjoying the scenic views over the majestic lowlands, travel over the quaint bridges that span the small islands of southern dementia, and enjoy a beautiful sunset among the moss-covered trees. If you're looking for a place to relax while exploring the lands of dementia, we suggest a visit to Deep Wallow. The small community is a working farm, where the residents use a unique method of raising crops of some of the extraordinary local plant life. The residents of Deep Wallow are private people, so care should be taken in approaching them. Once you've learned their customs, we found them to be a most interesting group with whom to spend some time. Tip: for an exciting day trip, visit the Hill of Suicides. We did actually go there when we finally got into the Shivering Isles. A site unlike any other in all the Shivering Isles. Located in central Dementia, travellers should not pass up the opportunity to take in the sights of this unique and fascinating location. There is no fee to visit the hill, though some travellers have found it almost impossible to leave. Getting to the Shivering Isles. Arrival to the Shivering Isles is solely at the discretion of our Lord Sheogorath, Prince of Madness. Getting around. The best way to explore the Shivering Isles is by foot. Take the time to meander along the paths that stretch across the beautiful landscape. Is this because they don't give you a horse? Is that why they're telling you that? The weary traveller can often find a place to rest at one of the many campsites found dotted across the world. Accommodations. Expensive. For choosy beggar, Bliss, Raven Biter and his wife, Sheer Meadish, run a fine restaurant and inn in the Bliss district of New Sheoth. The rooms are nicely appointed and the food is above average for the area. We highly recommend trying the wine. It's some of the best in the city. Many travellers find lunch to be an especially good time to visit the choosy beggar. Though the prices are no lower, the early hour often finds sheer meadish in a more accommodating mood. Moderate. Sickly Benice's Tap House, Crucible. Don't let the name fool you. Sickly Benice's Tap House is exactly what you'd expect from an inn located in downtown Crucible. The lodgings, while not as opulent as those found at the nearby Choosy Beggar, are satisfactory. Sickly Benice is an affable hostess when she is well enough to work. The food is palatable, as are the beverages. After a visit, make sure to see Ariel at Ariel's Mysteries. He sells a wide assortment of magics, including some wonderful low-cost cure disease spells. Shopping. Common treasures, bliss. If you're looking for, well, anything, Common Treasures and Bliss is a good place to start. Trader Tilsa Aralith has a wide assortment of wares available to the discerning customer. She's also more than willing to negotiate a good price for those unwanted items you may find in your travels. Cutter's Weapons, Bliss. There's not a finer weapon shop to be found in all of New Sheoth. Cutter runs a fine establishment and usually keeps a good variety of weapons in stock and ready for use. She'll do repairs for you on the spot, and she seems to take extra special care of your bladed weapons. This shop is not to be missed. I thought Cutter was in dementia. Unless there's a mistake in the book. I don't know. Books of Bliss, which is where we are now. If you're looking for reading material on your journey, this is the place to get it. Santerre is a very, very friendly bookseller, with a keen eye for more than just books. You won't be disappointed if you spend some of your hard-earned gold in this establishment. You imply if you spend a bit of gold, she'll, do you a different kind of favour. I don't know. The Missing Pauldron, Crucible. If it's armour you're in the mood to buy, look no further than the Missing Pauldron in Crucible. Recently reopened under new manager Dumag Grobonk, the shop seems to be doing quite well. Dumag will be happy to sell you some new armour, repair you old favourites, or just sit a while and tell you the rather long and interesting story of his life. Ariel's Mysteries, Crucible. Many adventurers don't like to travel without a full spellbook, and Ariel's is the place to go in New Sheoth to stock up on the latest in spellmaking. It sometimes seems time to stand still as you browse through the excellent selection of spells. Highly recommended. Things Found, Crucible. It's not an assortment of items to be sure, but it's never a dull day when you visit Things Found in Crucible. Owner Abuki has scoured the realm in search of the most intriguing and varied assortment of magical items to be found almost anywhere. Take some time and browse around. You never know what you might find. Okay, cool. So that's a guide. We already knew most of that, but some of it, like the shops and stuff, we didn't know about. So that's interesting. Next up is Myths of Sheogorath by Mimiphonus. Sheogorath invents music. In the earliest of days, in a time when the world was still raw, Sheogorath decided to walk amongst the mortals. He donned his guise of gentleman with a cane and moved from place to place without being recognized. After 11 days and 11 nights, Sheogorath decided that life among mortals was even more boring than his otherworldly existence. What can I do to make their lives more interesting? He said to himself. At that same moment, a young woman nearby commented wistfully to herself, "The sounds of a bird are so beautiful." Sheogorath silently agreed with her. Mortals could not make the beautiful inspired calls of birds. Their voices were wretched and mundane. He could not change the nature of mortals, for that was the purview of other Daedric princes. However, he could give them tools to make beautiful sounds. Sheogorath took hold of the petulant woman and ripped her asunder. From her tendons he made lutes, from her skull and arm bones he made a drum, from her bones he made flutes. He presented these gifts to the mortals, and thus music was born. Alright, that was a bit morbid, but interesting take. That's how music originated, people. Sheogorath and King Leander. King Leander was known to be an exceedingly rational man. He lived in a palace that was a small, simple structure, unadorned with art and ugly to look upon. "I do not need more than this," he would say. "Why spend my gold on such luxuries when I can spend it on my armies or on great public works?" His kingdom prospered under a sensible rule. However, the people did not always share the king's sense of practicality. He would build houses that were beautiful to look upon, although not necessarily very practical. They devoted time and energy to works of art. They would celebrate events with lavish festivals. In general, they were quite happy. King Leander was disappointed that more of them did not follow his example and lead frugal, sensible lives. He brooded on this for many years. Finally, he decided that his subjects simply didn't understand how much more they could accomplish if they didn't waste time on those frivolous activities. Perhaps, he reasoned, they just needed more examples. The king decreed that all new buildings must be simple, unadorned, and no larger than necessary for their function. You can see why Sheogorath wouldn't really like that. The people were not happy about this, but they liked their king and respected the new law. In a few short years, there were more plain buildings than ornate ones. The citizens used the money saved to make and buy even more lavish art and hold even more excessive celebrations. Once again, King Leander decided to provide them a strict example of how beneficial it would be to use their time and resources for more practical purposes. He banned all works of art in the city. The people were quite put out by this, but they knew that their king was doing what he thought was best for them. However, human nature is not so easily denied. In a few more years, the city was filled with plain, simple buildings and devoid of any sort of art. However, the people now had even more money and time to devote to their parties and festivals. With a heavy heart, King Leander decided that his people were to be treated like children. And like all children, they needed rules and discipline laid down by great figures of authority to make them understand what was truly important in life. He decreed that there should be no revelry in the city. Singing, dancing, and music were all banned. Even food and drink were limited to water and simple foodstuffs. The people had had enough. Revolt was out of the question, since King Leander had a very well trained and equipped army. They visited the shrines and temples in droves, praying to all the gods and even to some of the Daedric princes, but King Leander would revoke these new oppressive laws. You'd think Sanguine would be the Daedric prince that was most angry with all this, but yeah, Sheogorath heard their pleas and decided to visit King Leander. He appeared to the king in his dreams as a field of flowers, each with arms instead of petals, and the face of a mad god in the centre. I am Lord of the Creative and Lord of the Deranged. Since you have no use for my gifts of creativity, I have decided to bless you with an abundance of my other gift. From that day forward, every child born in the city was born into madness. Since infants do not reveal illnesses of the mind, it was several years before this was realized. The king's own son was among the victims, suffering from seizures and delusions. Yet King Leander refused to change his ways. When his son Glint was 12 years old, he stabbed his father while Leander was sleeping. With his dying breath, King Leander asked, "Why?" His son replied, "It's the most practical thing I could do." The new young king ordered all the palace servants slaughtered. He ordered a grand festival to celebrate his new reign and the repeal of Leander's laws. He served the crowds a stew made from the carcasses of the palace servants. Okay, that's a little far. He ordered the east-facing walls of every building painted red and the west-facing walls painted in stripes. He decreed that all citizens wear ornate masks on the back of their heads. He then burned down the palace and began construction of a new one. In the new palace, the young king ordered his personal chambers to not have any doors, for fear that small woodland creatures would attack him. He ordered that it have no windows, for fear that the sun and moon were jealous of him and plotting his death, and thus ended the line of King Leander. The people of the city returned to their grand works of art and raucous celebrations. They talked and acted as if they still had a living king, and even kept up the palace, using it to house and care for their mad children. Sheogorath was mightily pleased with this outcome. From that day forward, the city was blessed with more than the normal number of gifted artists and deranged citizens. The Contest of Wills. A mighty wizard named Ravate once walked the winds of time to find Lord Sheogorath. His intent was to win a favour from this most capricious of the Daedric princes. Upon finding Sheogorath, Ravate spoke humbly to him. "Lord Sheogorath, I beg a favour of you. I would gladly drive 1,000 men mad in your name if you would but grant me the greater magical powers." Fortunately for Ravate, Sheogorath was in a playful mood. He proposed a game. "I will grant your wish, if you are still sane in 3 days. During that time, I will do my utmost to drive you mad. It shall be great fun." Ravate was not so certain that he liked this new deal. He had been really looking forward to driving 1,000 men mad. Lord Sheogorath, I regret having disturbed you with my shallow, selfish request. I withdraw my unfortunate plea, and will humbly leave this place. Sheogorath just laughed. Too late, mighty Ravate. The game is afoot, and you must play. Ravate fled, only to find that all exits from the Daedric realm were now sealed. He wandered aimlessly, constantly looking over his shoulder, jumping at every noise. Each moment brought new terror as he waited for Sheogorath to begin. After 3 days, Ravate was convinced that every plant and animal was a tool of Sheogorath. He hadn't eaten or drunk for fear that Sheogorath had poisoned the food or drink. He hadn't slept for fear of Sheogorath invading his dreams, which was foolish as dreams of the domain of Vaemina. May she grant his restful sleep. Well, that's not true. We just read a story where Sheogorath did actually... No, he didn't actually interfere in my dreams, actually, in that story. Never mind. Fair enough. It was then that Sheogorath appeared to him. Ravate cried out, "You have set the whole world to watching me. Every creature and plant are doing your bidding to drive me mad." Sheogorath replied, "Actually, I have done nothing. You've driven yourself mad with your fears. Your delusions prove that you are truly deranged, and therefore I win. While you wanted to make 1,000 men mad, I only wanted to break one man's mind. Yours." From that day forward, Ravate served Sheogorath's every whim. Whenever daring travellers try to approach Sheogorath, Ravate warns them. "Sheogorath is already inside each of us. You have already lost." I love these Shivering Isles stories. Really, really fun to read. Alright, next up. The Liturgy of Affliction. A collection of the writings of Vexis Relverin, transcribed by Annius Guile. Dearest reader, the tome that you hold in your hand is a chronicle of pain, of torment, and of discovery. In these memoirs I shall impart to you an autobiography of a foolish and failed attempt to achieve a great power. Walk with me as I break the bonds of propriety, throw off the restraints of the ancient laws of the arcane, and cast aside the bonds of magical ethics, for contained herein you shall find the dying words of Vexis Velruin. Let it be known to you, loyal reader, that I remain until my dying moment a student of Magica, but no typical apprentice am I. I am one who has forged a unique path to the deeper understanding of the mechanics of Magica. Through the infliction of destruction magic upon my own flesh, I have accomplished more than any student before me has. It is by that folly that I come to you now, lucid as ever, fully alert in my faculties, and acutely cognizant of the sacrifices that I made in my quest. I have long since lost the capacity to feel any physical sensation beyond absolute agony. I have become so accustomed to it, so detached from the feeling that to me pain is simply always there. You do not think of the air around you as a sensation, do you? How is it, you ask, that I came to be what I am? It began innocently enough. I was once a healer, one of the most promising students of the temple. Which one? It doesn't matter. I was eventually expelled. Fools, you see. We had a number of patients interred in our humble sanctuary who had been infected with the red fever. My attempts to use the magical arts to turn the disease on itself were less than successful in their early stages. For trying to find a cure, I was cast out. It was not long after my exile that I discovered the means to eradicate infection using the destructive energies of Magica. In my explorations of the School of Destruction, I discovered that by pulling the elemental energies through my own body, I was able to increase the raw output of energy. From the experience of a lightning bolt surging through my own body, I was able to deepen my understanding of the raw forces of Magica. At first the pain was bearable. I directed only a minor amount of the energy back in towards myself. I learned to couple the destruction with restorative energies. It helped to abate the damage done to my body, but did nothing to stop the pain itself. As my tolerance of the pain increased, I began to channel more and more through my own body. My understanding of destruction outgrew my knowledge of restoration. While it could still lessen the damage, it could not stop it. My skin became charred and blackened. It dried, flaked off, and cracked. I stunk of cooked meat, but I could not resist the draw of more and more energy. I became like a skooma fiend of a worse sort. I no longer used magic for any practical purpose. I simply sought out more and more energy. I relished the pain. This sounds like that Black Mirror episode. What was it called? Oh, it was Black Museum, but it was the part of it about the doctor that basically Gets pleasure from other people's pain. Yeah, that was kind of freaky. Anticipated the moment when the energy and the pain would wash over me as one, freezing my flesh, burning it beyond recognition. My skin became a network of scars, sores, lesions and burns, but it was never enough. Never. I needed more. More pain, more power. I lost my sight. My eyes melted into boiling pools of vitreous humour so hot, but it left streaks of blistered skin as they ran down my face like burning tears. My right hand froze solid and shattered into 1,000 pieces, when I carelessly bashed it against a door jamb in terror. Once I realized what had happened, the bones of both my legs shattered outward like broken glass, shredding the flesh and muscle surrounding them. While this may sound like a fate of terrible consequence, my dearest reader, I can assure you that you will never know what it is to be a creature of flesh and bone like I have. You will never have the degree of knowledge of frailty of the flesh that I have grown to know. I achieved a level of understanding of Magica beyond that of the Grand Masters of the Guild, but that accomplishment pales in comparison to the grander discoveries this experience has bestowed upon me. People like you think that pain is to be avoided, hidden from, feared. Through my suffering and the numbness that now robs me of the ability to feel it, I can say this to you. Pain is a simple factor of human existence. It affords us the opportunity to feel, to appreciate the temporary shell that our spirits occupy. Pain is the greatest gift that the gods have ever given mortal man. And now, as I tell you this story by way of a scribe, I am a stump of a man, wrapped in seeping bandages, never to know pleasure again. Even still, I have but one message to impart to you. Embrace what you are. Glory to Lord Sheogorath, for he has opened my eyes. Alright. Bit of a freaky story, but we move. Next up is the Living Woods. It's going to be something to do with gnolls. Yeah, I thought so. The gnoll is a creature of a forest like no other. Away from the walls of New Sheoth, they are called the Walking Trees. Gnoll are known for their affinity with the elements. If a gnoll is struck by elemental forces of fire... Have we not read this book? No, I don't think so. If a gnoll is struck by elemental forces of fire, frost or shock, it uses that energy to grow stronger and larger. Fortunately, this effect only lasts for a short time. It is the will of Sheogorath that the gnoll confuse and bewilder the unwary mage. To that end, it gains resistance to the element it is struck with, but becomes weaker to the other two. The wily mage will quickly switch between elemental spells to take advantage of this. Lesser wizards will suffer if they continue to use the same spell over and over. In recent years, there have been rumours of smiths that are able to use the amber sap extracted from gnoll to make sturdy armour and weapons. As of yet, this gossip has not been confirmed. More is not known about the gnoll than is known. No one has been able to determine the gender of gnoll, or if they even have them. Young or immature gnoll have never been seen. One academic suggested that gnoll are born full formed from trees that are struck by lightning. This absurd suggestion has not been confirmed. Yo, what's up, Elliot, man? How's it going? The Oblivion content is here, man. Similarly, we have no knowledge of their diet or social habits. Presumably they feed directly from the sun and earth like trees do. There are no reported cases of them communicating, even among each other. However, they do seem to have a truce of sorts with other woodland creatures such as the Ballywog and Elytra. I mean, all of these creatures have truces for some reason. They never fight each other. It's very rare. Alright, next up is the predecessors. Being an examination of the curious ruins of the Shivering Isles and their terrible significance for our future, by Ingvar the Wanderer. The ancient ruins that dot the countryside are a familiar sight to the inhabitants of the Shivering Isles, so familiar that their true significance has escaped notice of most until now. I have recently uncovered the terrible secret hidden in these ruins, and I will now share this secret with you. But be warned, this knowledge may be too much for some, as you will know the awful fate that lies in store for you, but will be powerless to do anything to prevent it. If you are strong enough of mind to withstand the psychic shock of having your grim future laid bare, read on. My interest in the ruins began with a simple observation. All the ruins visible on the surface appeared to be of roughly the same age and architectural style. Who created these once mighty structures, and what happened to them? Further investigation revealed an even stranger truth. Although the ruins superficially all appear to derive from the same era, they are in fact of wildly differing ages Many thousands of years separate the ruins of Cylon, by far the oldest extant on the surface, despite its relatively well-maintained state. The ruins of Ebroca, which is almost 1,000 years old, is one of the youngest sites in the Isles. For those who would dismiss this conclusion, I invite you to visit the ruins and examine the evidence for yourselves. The depth of strata covering the buried portions of the structures, the weathering of the exposed stone, the growth of vegetation on and around the structures, etc. I have compiled the evidence in a separate monograph, dating the predecessor ruins, shocking new evidence comprehensively explained. Sounds like a clickbait article, which is presently unpublished. We will gladly make it available for those scholars wishing to delve further into the minutiae, I think that's how you say it, of this subject. Once I began to accurately establish the dates of the various ruins, a disturbing pattern emerged. The ruins fell into distinct periods, each period separated by exactly 1,000 years from the other, although Cylon remains the exception, being many thousands of years older than the next oldest extant ruin, suggesting only that the ruins from many earlier eras lie waiting to be discovered or have been lost to the ravages of time. What could account for this process of destruction, repeating itself every 1,000 years without fail? The legend of the Grey Mark sprang immediately to mind, that ancient tale of a vengeful god venting his wrath upon the land. Damn, whoever wrote this book knows some stuff that no one else knows. I thought only Sheogorath knew about the Grey March, and he tells you about it, but pretty much no one else. Interesting. What if it were more than a legend? What if it were a dimly remembered account of a real event? I suddenly realized the significance of the dating of the most recent ruin that I had discovered, Ebroca, which my tests proved to be about 1,000 years old. Yes, dear reader, we come to it at last. The cataclysm is upon us again. I have dated the ruins of Ebroca to great accuracy. I know the very year of our doom. I refrain from publishing the exact date, as this knowledge is a terrible burden that I would not inflict on others. For a long time I hesitated from issuing even this general warning, fearful of inciting panic or despair, but I have concluded that it is better to have time to prepare for the end, in whatever way one sees fit, than to have it thrust upon them unawares. I no longer doubt that the legend of the Grey March is based on historical events, and that the last days of our civilization will be terrible. The blasted and tumbled stones of the mighty cities of bygone eras are testament enough to that. But I find it strangely comforting to know that our end is already written in the stones of our predecessors, and that struggling against our doom is as pointless as shouting against the incoming tide. I hope that at least a few of my readers will find equal solace in this bleak foreknowledge. Damn, Ingvar the Wanderer's a woke one. Pretty much nailed it spot on, although he is wrong about one thing. We're going to do everything we can to stop the Grey March from happening this time. And yeah, hopefully manage to do that. Next up, the Ravings of Fenroy. The following pieces were gathered from the author's cell shortly before his untimely death at his own hands, written primarily on bed sheets and the bare stone of his floor, using only his own bodily fluids for ink. Nasty. Some of the transcriptions represent the editor's best guesses at the author's true intent. Mother said there was no reason. It's just the way it is. Mother lies. Hey, praise Lord Kigalag. Hey, none of that. We don't worship Kigalag over here. We don't do that here. I can see rain. I can feel rain. I can only feel wind. Someone is hiding. If I walk through the forest, the birds stop singing. They're talking about me, I'm sure of it. They're just too scared to do it to my face. Pote, moat, coat, float, goat, no, row. Oh, this guy got bars. Secret name, secret name, secret name. He touches me when I'm not looking. Okay, that's a bit mad. Sometimes I hear the people talking about their days. They talk about family and the weather and yesterday and tomorrow. They say what a good day it was and how was your day and have a nice day. I say talk, 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 talk. How can you enjoy your day when you share it with everyone? Time is a private thing. The dragon hides it from us all, passing it out in dribs and drabs. Save your time, save your time. I keep mine locked up tight, where no one can find it, not even him. Hold me now, rock me gently, my tears are burning. Dear, don't jinx it, don't jinx it. Hold your breath, one big one now. One last gasp, and we're done. He talks all the time, but his words are useless. Talking, talking. Let's talk, never doing, always talking. Words become meaningless. They float on the air. dissipate like past gas, make him stop talking to me. Always take care when dealing with women. They see things we do not. A smile, a glance. They mean nothing to us, everything to them. They twist their smiles to meet our own. They avert a gaze just so, watch them closely. They rule the world. They just don't know it. Am I indecisive? Yes and no. Oh, that's great. I love that line. Am I indecisive? Yes and no. Brilliant. They came to bring me food today. I ate it. I know it was poisoned. They laced it with black flour and egg root. They think it keeps me quiet, said it. I know better. Sometimes I chew up the bread and spit it into the corners of my cell. No one notices, and the rats eat it after a time. It keeps them quiet, sedate. When I eat the rats, the poison is more dilute, and I gain their memories. That's a bit weird. Then again, this is the Shivering Isles. I don't believe it's fair that I'm forced to deal with the stupid, or the obtuse, or the pedantic, yet they give me rules like, go here, and do that, and eat this, and kill that. They don't know that I know their names. Eventually I'll get to them, and I'll make the rules. Just you wait and see, good gods come and go, but all lords eventually fall. A god can wake up mortal. If I learn from my mistakes, will I eventually stop making them? Is there a balance I can achieve? A perfect harmony with myself? Should I seek that point where there are no more mistakes to be made? All the lessons learned? When that happens, do we die? Do we become gods? Do the gods even want us? He stole someone's sweet roll. Oh man, he's feeling so guilty. Will he learn from his mistakes? Stealing sweet rolls, angering the gods. Who knows? Well, obviously, he kind of killed himself, so he obviously doesn't learn. Maybe all dogs go outside deliberately. Maybe a decision gets overly deliberate. Might a dream grow overly demented? He knows. He knows. He knows. Stories are for children and dreamers. Poetry is for weaklings and madmen. Epics glorify the vile and vilify the glorious. Read minds, not words. I think it's time to go. He's still in my head, but I think he might leave if I'm quiet. Shh. Shh. I enjoyed that. That was a fun read of Madmen's Tales. Alright, Shivering Apothecary. Is this just going to be like a guide to Shivering Isles potions? Probably. Author Cinder Amatius. Many, many things. Wet things and dry things. Things from plants, things from animals, things from stone and sky, and tree, and man, and myrrh. So many beautiful things for potions, all of them there for the taking, waiting to be plucked and put to use. Grind me, take my essence, turn me into something new, something wonderful. That's what she said. They cry out to me. I have given my life to finding so many of the wondrous things of Tamriel, and now the things that lie beyond, the realm of the mad god. Dangerous and beckoning, has so many new things to offer that I have trembled with excitement over it. I stop to take note of what I have found, so that I may not forget it in the coming days, and I spend my time searching, mixing, and discovering. The apprentice will find that marrow from the shambles and fins from scalons merge to make a deadly poison that strikes at one's very heart, damaging the health of those who ingest it. Many a blade did I sink into wet flesh and dry bone to learn this, but what I have found pleases me. Flame stalks in the very essence of flesh atronachs can be mixed by even a novice to counter that damage, as one can drink a potion made from these two to feel healthy again. The expert may find that rather than risk himself against those walking monstrosities, the screaming maw can be used instead. The Magica, and without Magica where would I stand now? The Ica of an Elytra can be mixed with Withering Moon by a novice, or Thornhook by a journeyman. No explorer in the Shivering Isles should venture forth without looking for these. The tongue of a hunger, by itself a marvel of anatomy, can be eaten to cure poisons, or matched with Withering Moon to cure disease. I cannot help but wonder what disease would be so dire as to risk one's life against a hunger. I have been most pleased to find that, to the expert alchemist, rod scale and worm's head caps can be mixed to paralyze one's enemies. This has proven most useful in extracting ingredients from the Isle's less cordial residents. Mad. Okay. Yeah, I was pretty much right. I already knew most of that because we've been banging out the potions non-stop, so still interesting to see how they put it. Next up, Wabberjack. Little boys shouldn't summon up the forces of eternal darkness unless they have an adult supervising. I know. But on that sunny night on the 5th of First Seed, I didn't want an adult. I wanted Hermaeus Mora, the Daedra of knowledge, learning, gums, and varnishes. Gums? The hell? Is there another meaning to gums, which I don't know? Seems a bit random. You see, I was told by a beautiful, large-breasted man who lived under the library in my hometown that the fifth of first seed was Hermaeus Mora's knight. Why did they specify that he was large-breasted? It's not relevant at all to the story. Or maybe it is, and I'm yet to read it, who knows. And if I wanted the Okhma Infinium, the Book of Knowledge, I had to summon him. When you're the new King of Solitude, every bit of knowledge helps. Yeah, of course. It is the most important part of the story. What am I talking about? Normally you need a Witcher's Coven or a Mage's Guild, or at least mashing a pillowcase in sheets to invoke a Prince of Oblivion. The man under the library showed me how to do it himself. Well, if that's who I think it is, we don't know who he is yet, or anyone who hasn't played through the Shivering Isles already. I think I know who the man under the library refers to. He told me to wait until the storm was at its height before shaving the cat. I have forgotten the rest of the ceremony. It doesn't matter. Someone who appeared who I thought was Hermaeus Mora. The only thing that made me somewhat suspicious was Hermaeus Mora. From what I read, was a big, blobby, multi-eyed, clawed monstrosity. And this guy looked like a waistcoated banker. I mean, he's not wrong, if he's referring to Sheogorath. But can't Daedra take up any appearance they want? So I guess Hermaeus Mora could have looked like that if he wanted to. But I guess it's not really his style. Also, he kept calling himself Sheogorath, not Hermaeus Mora. Oh, that's a dead giveaway. Still, I was so happy to have successfully summoned Hermaeus Mora. These inconsistencies did not bother me. He had me do some things that didn't make any sense to me, beyond the mortal scope, breadth, and ken, I suppose. Oh, this guy sounds like an idiot. And then his servant happily gave me something he called the Wabberjack. Wabberjack, 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 Wabberjack. Maybe the Wabberjack is the book of knowledge. Maybe I'm smarter because I know cats can be bats, can be rats, can be hats, can be gnats, can be vats, can be thises. Oh, I love this book already. And that doors could be bores, can be snores, can be floors, can be roars, can be spores, can be yours, can be mine. Oh, I love this book. This might be my favourite, just for that part. I must be smart, for the interconnected system is very clear to me. And why or wherefore do people keep calling me mad? Wabberjack, Wabberjack, Wabberjack. Right. Yeah, that's probably my favourite book. Nah, he is big brain, but those are bars, you know. Guy could have easily made it as a rapper in this day and age. Right. Wabberjack is very relevant to Sheogorath, and we might even see it later on in his playthrough. Who even knows? Right, the last book of this episode probably is going to be called Zealotry. Zealotry of Sheogorath. I think we read the book about heretics, I think. So this one's about zealots, who are the complete opposite. Self-proclaimed zealots of Sheogorath believe our liege lord to be not just a man of mysterious and wondrous powers, but a living god. They believe his will sustains the land and his whims support all things in it. They believe Arden Sul, who reads the winds in our entrails, was the mortal aspect of Lord Sheogorath, and will come again to cleanse the realm. Since these claims are clearly ridiculous, it can be assumed that all zealots are quite mad. The zealots cannot be reasoned with. They cannot be treated with easily. They attack almost anyone on sight, assuming them to be heretics or non-believers. They fight to the death, reveling in the carnage. The reader might ask, then how does one join the zealots? After much research, I discovered that zealots sneak into settled areas and leave sets of robes behind. Anyone inclined towards zealotry can don these robes and approach the zealots safely. That is actually important for a future quest. It's interesting they tell us that in a book. It is said that zealot leaders can see the true heart of a supplicant even if he wears the robes, and will slay any false supplicants. Even then, the zealots have painful rituals meant to prove their fealty to Sheogorath. Only the most devout supplicants are accepted into their ranks. Those who fail these tests are put to death. Once a supplicant is accepted as a zealot, he is taught ceremonies and sorcerer's secrets. The best known of these is summoning flesh actions to do their bidding. These powerful creatures are formidable foes. Alright, I guess we'll have to watch out for them if we do encounter zealots. And minor spoiler alert, we will do at some point. Alright, cool. Let's take a quick look around and see if there's anything more interesting in this place. Alright, not really. Let's see if we can catch up with Wide Eye. Oh, someone's having a conversation. We have to get involved.
Timian gone. Bye-bye. Go find Pumpkin.
I love Fimian. Someone get that ladder sweet roll. We've spoken to Orenfell, I think. Ajazda, we've met.
Yes.
Rendil Drarara, I don't think I met you.
Rendil Drarara, chef extraordinaire at your service.
Another ice cream
You
cone
haven't
head.
truly eaten a decent meal until you've had my strawberry harava, green moat, lime surprise, and spiderling under glass.
Man, sounds delicious.
All right.
Let's make you like me first. I think you like joke and boast.
Oh, that's great! What a that's not now, not later. Well done. You. Oh, that's great. You. Oh, don't try to manipulate me.
Windswept hair. Lol.
Oh.
I've coined the phrase, it's mine now. Oh, you make people like me, you have dollars. I don't have dollars yet. I spent all of it upgrading all of the player homes, so I have a dollar left.
Knights of Order have come to destroy the realm.
That's not what... Wait, that wasn't what the subtitle said. What the hell? Alright, so you don't have anything interesting to say.
Understand. I do hope it doesn't confuse any of my brood returning to me after all these years.
The resonator? Maybe it'll keep strangers out of bliss.
Oh, is she tired?
Greetings, friend.
It's early in the morning. Wait, who's this? Ungor. Oh, we met Ungor. Let's just talk to Wide Eye.
How can I help you this fine day?
You can tell me rumours.
Books of Bliss has quite a selection.
We literally just went there and bought all their books, so thanks for nothing. Tell me about Faden.
Such a kind and noble man. In times like these, it's good to have a leader who still enjoys all the modern pleasures Mania has to offer.
Yeah, so great to have him around, isn't it? Pleasures?
Well, yes. Apart from enjoying his painting, reading a good book, or a rousing night of erotic bedroom games.
Alright, stop right there. Wide Eye.
Speaking of Greenmote, of course, there is no greater pleasure. If I didn't have such a busy daily routine, I'd likely indulge myself in its pleasures more often.
Alright. Drugs? Daily routine, yeah, just tell me.
Very well. I see little harm in telling you. After a bit of reading in the garden and running my special errand at noon, I like to shop at Books of Bliss.
That's why we went there.
Around 8 p.m. we are served dinner. Gundlar is quite a chef and prepares Thaden's meals personally, adding just a hint of Greenmote. After that, we dance, we sing, or we do whatever else suits my lord's taste.
Yep, pretty much. Noon skooma, basically, yeah. And yeah, those damn Argonians need to keep their tails to themselves. Anyway, Greenmote, where can I find some?
It's the refined version of the spores that are harvested from the spore trees that dot Mania. We keep the Greenmote safely tucked inside the Greenmote silo. You can imagine the ruckus if its location was known.
I know, right? That'd be crazy.
Only a select few, such as myself, know the silo's location. However, we are sworn to secrecy.
Oh, that's a shame. How will we ever find the silo? Tell me more about Faden.
Yes, I must attend to him. Speaking to you has already cost me time. I must go.
Hey, I'm not done with you.
Again, we cross paths.
I didn't want to lose paths. Tell me more about Greenmoat.
There isn't enough gold or enough jokes in the world that would convince me to tell you where the Green Moat is located.
What about admire, boast, or coerce? Was there enough of those? That made her hate me.
Of course.
Oh no, not really.
Farewell.
Alright. Am I gonna get an update now? Did I already get an update? Oh right, Wide-Eye has described to me a bit of her routine. I'll need to find where she gets Greenmoat from and obtain some without being discovered. Wide-Eye mentions she does a special errand at noon every day. I should follow her and see where she goes. Alright, we'll do a little bit of stalking. Alright, let's listen to this convo first.
Far from Lord Shergorath's protection. Bye.
Damn, inaudible coughs. Alright, well I guess... let's just always be sneaking. Must have the calming pants. Oh, hello Wide-Eye. Don't mind me. It's 11 AM. Got something to do pretty soon, don't you? I'm just here to upgrade my sneak. Hey. You, stop that. I mean, I guess if she's not detecting me, it's still fine. I think if Oblivion was made in 2020, I wouldn't be allowed to do this. Alright, she's gone into House of Mania. Is this where she does her mysterious errand? Oh wow, she just pushed that god out of the way. Rude. Gotta love those tailing requests. Halcyon Conservatory. Okay, well, she just teleported to do some painting. I'm just gonna wait here till she gets up. Doing this properly. No waiting. We're just gonna follow her, see what she does. It's 11:42, so she's pretty much about to get up and leave. There is Faden enjoying his last moments. What's he painting? Oh, basically colourful shrooms. You would expect no less from someone who is addicted to drugs. 12 o'clock yet. Always be creeping. I mean sneaking. Obviously I meant sneaking. Oh, convo. Oh, it's already done. Golden Saints and dogs who use the guards don't make for very interesting conversation this. She just read one page and moved the bookmark one page forward. Where are you going, Missy? Ooh. Ooh, that was a little tense. She does not like gods. Constantly bumping into them, staring them down. None of my business though. I followed Wide-Eye to an unremarkable alcove in the palace courtyard. I should watch from this vantage point to see what she does. And I physically cannot move right now. I guess that's to stop me from getting caught. I've observed Wide-Eye activating the secret entrance to the green moat silo. I need to get inside and procure 2 extra doses of a potent drug without getting caught. So obviously I'm going to save the game, because there's a million ways this can go wrong. Yeah, no one would ever see that. I mean, it's literally a ladder down. Yeah. I don't know. Oh, it's caster stealing. We're good people. We don't steal unless we absolutely have to. I do want to explore what is here, though. But yeah, detect life is going to be very, very useful. No, please. Don't do this. Steal her shoes. Alright, I'm just... Oh, okay, never mind. Wait, she's turned around. Crap. This is dark enough, right? Oh, she just patrols like that? That's annoying. Sneak, sneak, sneak. Be down this pathway. You know, that's one I've already been to. I need to go there. Pickpocket Sands of Resolve. Oh, yeah, the most difficult quest of all time. That one. Have I just gone round in a circle? Basically, yeah. When she turns around, assuming she does. Alright, this is basically another way. It's just basically planting chests, isn't it? Okay, that's a dead end. I do have a quest marker, don't I? Yeah. Let's go this way. And we go down even further. Can't even detect any guards over here. Right, I want to go back up here and explore the rest of this side. Go this way. I'm gonna save again just in case. Gonna be a little bit reckless. Okay. Okay, so that's all of that part explored. Nothing too special. Oh. Let's go back here. Oh dear. Don't mind me. I'm just standing around. Okay, I'm gonna wait till, because sometimes the AI catches you out of a corner of its eye. Fearless. Okay, and I guess there's only one area left to go. Which is down here. And I think this is pretty much where the green mote is stored. Save again. Because I think she has her back to me, doesn't she? And yoink, and yoink. I've obtained 2 doses of green mote. I now need to sneak into Thaden's kitchen sometime before 8 o'clock and attempt to slip an extra dose into his evening meal and into his wine without being seen. Otherwise, try again tomorrow night. Gunlar, prepare the meal. That's not good grammar. In the morning, so I'll have to wait until the afternoon to poison his food. Yep, pretty much. Don't think Wide-Eye ever moves. Or is she gonna head back now? I don't know. Kinda wanna see what's on that table, but she won't see me. She's more green mode. Oh, so this is basically where you do all the production stuff. We won't be stealing the equipment. We only came here to steal what we have to. What's the time? 3:16 PM. I think that's probably enough time if I just rush out of here. As long as she doesn't turn around. Which, of course, she might. Doesn't hurt to save again, but yeah, when she goes up that, she might catch me somehow. Should be good from here. It's a quicker way out this way. Maybe, because I don't have to worry about Wide-Eye. I'm so glad I have Detect Life. I even managed to beat Wide-Eye to this part. And now we keep moving. What is my sneak anyway? Must be, yeah, 82, so more than enough. Can you go any slower? Yeah. My guy doesn't like magic too much, a bit like George's character. Can you just go straight here, right? We fear no eyes. I actually really got close to being seen there. So, yeah. That was ill-advised, but got away with it. Right, let me try something. Can I just sneak past her? I can just walk past her. Don't mind me, I'm just gonna go first if you don't mind. Oh, how's it going? Oh, hey everyone. I know.
She can make armor and weapons. I've also heard she's found ways to make magical versions as well.
Farewell.
Don't know why I'm...
Again, my friend.
Hello, my friend. My very talkative friend. Alright, well, the sneaking is not over yet. And I think this part is actually pretty difficult. Unless you have invisibility or chameleon. But I'm going to try and do it without. Phaeton's getting ready for his meal. It's 4:41. So we've got a little bit of time in our hands. Wait, is it this way? Yeah, conservatory. Oh, the chef is heading to the kitchen. I hope he's not heading to the kitchen. Damn it. Jump. Duke's quarters hard. I mean, save just in case, because this one can get quite difficult. Damn it. I'm perfect at lockpicks when no one's watching. But as soon as I stream, just always mess one of them up. Well, hello. Okay. It's auto-save, so I'm just not going to bother saving again. Detect Life is actually helpful. I usually don't do this with Detect Life. Yeah, these two guards just rotate. But I think if I go over here, I'm safe. Walking this way. We stay in the dock. One of them's coming here. Okay, if she comes around the corner, I'm gonna make a dash probably. Hello. Where do you stop? Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, maybe making a dash wouldn't have been a good idea. Maybe I would have got away with it, I don't know. Right, it's 5:26. I still have 2.5 hours. So I do have some time. Damn it. This is actually kind of hard. Nothing happened. The game glitched for the last few seconds. You know, sometimes it happens. So I do kind of want to see what's down here, since I probably won't come back. Okay, a bunch of alchemy equipment and stuff like that, because they make some weird food down here. Oop. You saw nothing? I'm going crazy. Alright, okay, progress has been made. You're gonna come back? Sorry man, I owe Fimian a few sweet rolls, so I can't do that. Oh, am I in the light? Okay. Just gonna make a dash over here. Nope.
You thought you could escape, Lord Sheogan?
Damn it. This is hard. I'm gonna try a different approach. Which is basically just go this way. Dark enough. Okay. You go... Okay, she's going this way. Some more chests and stuff over here. You're going to turn around and you're going to give me access to the kitchen. Lovely. And the other guard is nowhere near, so... Nice, I have full access. How do I do this? There was a... Yeah, there you go, Faden's wine. Faden's meal. I've slipped an extra dose of green moat into Faden's meal. Faden's wine. I should proceed to the dining area at 8 o'clock for the evening feast and watch the effect the green moat overdose has on Faden. Alright, we're almost there. Just gonna save the game. Damn it. This isn't bright, is it? Apparently not. And you're gonna go all the way. It's gonna give me a window to go here. I haven't seen what's this way. Okay, just a barrel. Damn it, my urge to explore is getting the best of me. Hello. Alright, just wait for both of them to come back this way. And then we'll make a mad dash again. Ooh. I want to see what's in here. Oh, this is like Faden's room, right? Okay, chest, bed. Chest, cupboard. Alright, cool. Okay. You're gonna go around there. And you're probably gonna come straight at me. Alright, now's the time. Run, run, run. Damn it! Ah. Okay. You don't see me. Alright, I'm just gonna leave now. You turning around? You're turning around. Great. You're going down there. So I can basically just... This is dark. In fact, you're just turning down there. I can just make a run for it. Whee! What's the time? 5:53. We're doing this perfectly. Well, timing-wise, I mean, obviously. Hey, Gunlar. Looking forward to fading into your lovely meal, which I'm sure is going to be like his last. Alright, Wagwan Faden. Look at him. He's got his food all ready and prepared for him. He's got his wine, which I may not have slipped some drugs into. Alright, what does the quest say? At 8 o'clock. Okay. I'm just going to wait an hour. And then we'll see when it actually starts.
Yes?
Nothing, man. I'm just saying that food looks nice. What is that? Ooh, delicious. Some random claw thing. Oh yeah, I want his hat too. I think I can take it from him after something happens to him. That's bread. That's like some mashed something. Some weird carrot slices with green mold on them.
Hello.
Delicious. Or is that just green moat? Yeah, it's probably a green moat, isn't it? Alright, now we just sit back and watch the fireworks. Yeah, I said it first, okay? I said it first. Unfortunately, you're right. Because chat is always right. Oh, okay. I've entered the main hall in the House of Mania, and the evening feast is underway. I should watch the effect the green moat overdose has on Thaden. Alright, I am stuck in place.
Oh my, yes. I feel especially delighted this evening. Perhaps it's time I recited my latest soliloquy. The lady fair, our love is told, with hair as fine as soft spun gold, lips as red as a sun-drenched dawn, skin as soft as a newborn fawn,
Oz.
eyes as blue as a cerulean sea.
What?
My heart can't breathe. Help!
Uh-oh. Stand back, everyone. I know first aid. And there he goes. After Thaden rose to deliver an odd soliloquy, he clutched his heart and fell to the ground dead. I should now collect as much of his tainted blood as possible. Stand back, guys. I know first aid. I've obtained Thaden's drug-tainted blood. I now need to make my way back to Altar of Ardensul. Mr. Selim. Yes, we do get his hat. Diadem of Euphoria. Nice. I can add that to my unique item list. Diadem of Euphoria. So, Fortify Speechcraft, Resist Magic, and Fortify Magicka. I'm probably not going to use that. I mean, Speechcraft is kind of meh. Resist Magic's okay. Fortify Magicka, not really helpful. He's got some cheese on him. Another From Frog to Man copy. House Mania key. Can add that to my list as well. And a random paintbrush. Well, I guess it's not random because he actually does paint. We're going to leave him with his paintbrush. I mean, it's nice. I'm going to use it when I go to parties, of course. But it's no blade turn hood, know what I'm saying? It looks pretty good on me, to be fair. Yeah, but blade turn hood is the boss. Can I do anything with the cheese? Opportunist, alchemist. Damn it. Alright, well. Don't mind me, guys. I just, I couldn't save him. I did everything I could. I'm going to take his, the sample of his blood back to the lab and test it and see, you know, what could have been done wrong to avoid, what could have been done to avoid such a tragedy. I think fast traveling to Bliss is slightly faster, so I'm going to be lazy. Alright, I've literally got that drip, as in blood. That kind of drip. Okay, so both the priest guys are there. There's a couple of golden saints. Yeah, okay. What's up, Shigoref? I'm gonna just put my drip, as in drips of blood. Delicious. How did that set on fire? Oh wait, that's a Daedra Lord. Never mind. All is now clear to me.
Once again has the ritual of accession come full circle. The blood of Théoden has been consumed by Arden Sul's will, and all of Mania welcomes you with open arms.
Oh, thank you, Dervanin.
I now declare you Duke of Mania of the Shivering Isles. May your light shine upon all our happiest days.
Alright, rumours?
The hunger is one of Lord Sheogorath's favorite pets.
I mean, it's a realm of his own imagination, so I'd imagine every creature is one of his favourite pets. Green Moat.
I've heard of such a grand place. To imagine all that wonderful green moat under one roof.
I mean, even this guy doesn't know? Damn.
May Arden Sul enrich your mind and guide your heart.
Alright, is that the quest done? Not quite yet. We need to talk to old Sheo. And let me tell you right now, I am not a big man. I am not a big man, and I ain't gonna do it. Because, yeah. For anyone who's watching this later, who has never played Oblivion, do try hitting Sheogorath at least once and you'll save. But I ain't gonna do it.
You've done it! The ritual is complete, and you've survived! A shame about Théoden, but it's how we would have wanted it to go. Now, on to other...
I'm gonna let you finish, but...
Wait, I must speak. The ritual must
Huh?
not be completed.
That sounds like Syl. It is Syl.
Still, you dare interrupt me? Only I interrupt me. Like just then. I'm speaking with someone. We'll talk later.
I have a
Or
name.
not.
Why does no one in this game ever say my name?
Not now, I'm sure of that. Guards! I think Syl forgot how to use the door. Kindly show her out before I forget myself.
Okay.
Théoden? Dead? You've done this. It was you all along.
Actually, I did it.
Hold your tongue, little Duchess, or I'll tear it from your mouth.
Replacing Théoden with this outsider?
Say my
This is
name.
how it ends.
I did a long quest for you.
Calm yourself, Syl. You're making my teeth itch. You still hold your office? I suggest you see to your duties.
No, I see what's going on. I should have seen it before. You conspire to destroy us all. You're a fool if you think I'll allow this to happen.
Fool? Visionary! Change is in the air, Syl. Breathe it deep. Bathe in its scent. Bottle it up, save some for later.
Order stands at our door. They've taken the fringe. Did you even know?
Oh, mad.
There? And you speak of change.
Change will preserve us. It is the lifeblood of the Isles. It will move mountains. It will mount movements.
No, I can't do this. There has to be a way out. A way to escape.
No, don't do it.
Then go, Syl. Return to your quarters before I send you
No, don't do it.
pieces.
Yes, that's what I'll do. I'll go. The enemy of my enemy orders the key. I'll keep them close.
Oh, she done it.
No, let her go.
This is not over, Mad God. I give myself to Jiggalag. As a priest of order, I'll be safe. Your empire will crumble before the armies of order.
Damn. Well. So yeah, we've lost the Duke because we killed him. And we've lost the Duchess because she mad. After informing Sheogorath of my victory, Syl, the Duchess of Dementia, became furious. Before she stormed out of the Sacellum, she threatened that we hadn't heard the last of her. I should continue speaking to Sheogorath to receive my rewards of office. I give myself to you for yeah, I guess. She doesn't know what's going on, poor lass. Alright, well, for those people who don't know, I'm sure you do, Elliot, but for anyone who's watching this in the future, Syl and Théoden had a little bit of a thing going, and whichever one you kill, the other one betrays Sheogorath and joins Order. So yeah, that was kind of inevitable, but yeah, since we killed Théoden, Syl got mad and rage quit madness. So what's up, Sheo? What are we gonna do?
Wondering why I let her go, aren't ya? I can see it in your face. Mostly in the
Sound like the Emperor.
I may take those from you when this is done. This has never happened before. The ruler of dementia turning traitor? Unprecedented. I've seen others defect, but never a duke.
Technically a Duchess.
Maybe we're onto something here. We'll see how it plays.
I am gonna correct Sheogorath.
Can't be worse than what's happened before.
Or I'm heading to the Hill of Suicides. If you say so.
I do. I did. And I won't say it again. But that's enough about that. You're the ruler of Mania. Oh, just look at you. You're positively beaming. You now have the power to summon golden saints. They've always served the Duke of Mania. I think it's the bright colors. They just love them. And here is the Ring of Lordship.
Ooh,
A symbol of
more
your
bling.
noble station. Symbols are important. They carry weight in this realm, and others. You would be well served to remember that.
And the fringe?
She was right about that. I can feel it. In my bones. The little ones.
Oh, there's a joke. I have to resist.
Swept the fringe. Aura gathers its forces there as we speak. And I hate when people gather forces in my fringe. You'll need to put an end to that. Stop them. My army should already be there, but I want you to see what you can do to help.
Of course.
If they continue to marshal their forces there, we won't be able to
Okay.
Make sure they...
He has a small penis. I said it. That was the small bone he was talking about. Alright. I'm gonna die now. I'm gonna die. Alright, Grey March.
Swept the fringe! That's not good! See if you can't hold them off there, because if you can't, everyone is going to die.
Hey, I can reload the save. You guys can't. Even you. Obelisks.
They'll get more and more active as the Grey March continues. If they've already taken the fringe, they must have one there already. I really hate those things.
I hate them too, because they just never seem to go away.
Come visit.
I mean, he technically does reload his realm, doesn't he, I guess? Yeah. Alright, let me check out this ring real quick. Personality, resist disease, and shield. What have I got? Light armor, reflect damage 8%. Do I want shields? Instead of one of these? What does light armor actually do? I mean, my light armor is 100 right now, so... I feel like I could stand to lose 6 and get a 23% shield. I feel like that's probably better. Yeah. Chat is always right. Okay. I'm probably gonna call it an episode there. So yeah. Just to summarize, in this episode, we did some sneaking around, stole some drugs from the secret stash, poisoned the Duke's food and drink, and watched him and his heart explode, gathered his blood, put it into the Cecellum, and became the Duke of Mania. Still got mad, turned traitor, joined the side of Dementia, and while all this was happening, the forces of Order took the fringe. And in the next episode, we'll be trying to claim those back. But yeah. Thank you guys all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to check out all of my links in the description below, especially my Discord. You could be notified when I go live, and I post my stream schedule there every week. So yeah, have a good day and night. Thanks for coming, Elliot. You have a good night as well. Hey! Don't know why those notifications pop up only on Oblivion, but thanks for joining the server, bro. I'll see you later, and peace.